Q. Mr. Nelson, do you know if he has become a permanent resident here? A. Yes. Ms. Charles, objection. What she thought her brother's status was may be different than his status. The court, is your objection relevance? Ms. Charles, yes, it is. The court, the witness may answer that question. Mr. Nelson, do you know if he was a permanent resident? A. Yes. Q. Do you know when he became a resident? A. In June of 2004. Q. All right. When Harry first arrived here, who did he reside with? A. He resided with me in my house. Q. Okay. And how long did he reside with you? A. For about 2 years. Q. Okay. Did he have any employment back then? A. No. Q. All right. And how did he support himself? A. I supported him. Q. Okay. Did he pay you any money for rent at your house? A. No, he did not. Q. Okay. Is it correct that in 2003 you and your brother Harry purchased a residence together? A. Yes, it is. Q. Please tell us whose idea it was for you to buy this house together. A. It was my idea because I wanted to invest. Q. Okay. And you discussed this idea with Harry, is that correct? A. Yes, that is correct, sir. Q. Okay. And how did he respond? A. He agreed to it. Q. Okay. All right. A. And so we purchased the house as a partnership. Ms. Charles, objection, Your Honor. There is no question pending. The court, please wait for the question, ma'am, and only answer that question. The witness, okay. I will do that. Q. By Mr. Nelson, did you talk about being equal partners when you purchased this house with Harry? A. Yes, I did. Q. Okay. At the time just before you both purchased this house together, where did he reside? A. He lived in an apartment. Q. Is it your testimony that he was renting an apartment? A. Yes. Q. And who did he live there with? A. He lived there with our mother. Q. Okay. Did you know why Harry wanted to buy this residence together with you? A. So he can be involved in the investment. Q. Were you hoping to make money on the purchase? A. Well, if the house prices go up, we would benefit from the profit. Q. Why could Harry not buy this residence by himself? A. Because he was not a resident. Q. Was that the only reason he could not buy the house? A. Well, he was not working, and he did not have credit. Q. You had to utilize your good credit and income to purchase this house, is that correct? A. Yes, that is correct. Q. By Mr. Nelson, what is the address of that house? A. 421 Montana. The court, is that in Torrance? The witness, yes, Torrance. Mr. Nelson, Your Honor, may I approach? The court, certainly. Q. By Mr. Nelson, I want to show you this document. That has been marked as Exhibit 1. A. All right. Q. Exhibit 1 contains 3 photographs of what appear to be a house. Do you recognize the house in the photographs? A. Yes, I do. Q. And is that the house that you and Harry bought together? A. Yes. Q. What is the general description of the house? A. What do you mean? I don't understand. Q. How many bedrooms are there in the house? A. Upstairs there is 1 master bedroom. There are 3 other bedrooms downstairs. Q. Okay. There is a total of 4 bedrooms, is that right? A yes. Q. How many bathrooms are there in the house? A. There is one in the master bedroom and another in the hallway. Q. Is it your testimony that the house has 2 bathrooms? A. No. There is also one downstairs bathroom, but it has no shower. Q. All right. And how many vehicles fit in the garage? A. 2. Q. What is the square footage of the residence? A. I have no idea. Q. When Harry and you decided to buy a house together, did you guys go together to look for a house? A. Yes. Q. Did both of you agree to select this residence to purchase? A. Yes. Q. Okay. Do you know the purchase price of this house? A. About $300,000. Ms. Charles, objection. Relevance. The court, counsel, do you wish to be heard? Mr. Nelson, no, Your Honor. I can move on. The court, thank you. Q. By Mr. Nelson, did you contribute any money toward the down payment of the house? A. Yes. Q. How much money did you contribute for the down payment of the house? A. $10,000. Q. I would like to show you another exhibit. Ms. Serta. A. All right. Q. This is Plaintiff's Exhibit 2. A. Is this the same one that is on the screen up there? Q. Yes, it is. A. I understand. Q. Ms. Serta, do you recognize that specific document? A. Yes, I do. Q. Would you tell us what it is, please? A. It is a cashier's check drawn in Harry Serta's name. Q. Okay. An account number appears at the top of the check. Will you read that account number? Ms. Charles, objection. The document speaks for itself. The court, objection sustained. Next question, please. Q. By Mr. Nelson, whose account is that? A. This account belongs to my husband and me. Q. Okay. And who is Kevin John Serta? A. John is my husband's middle name. Q. Okay. Is it correct that this check was drawn from your account? A. Yes. Q. And is it correct that it is made payable to Harry Serta? A. Yes. Q. What was the purpose of this check? A. It was money to put in for the down payment. Q. Why was it in his name? A. Because the mortgage company wanted it that way. Q. Okay. But this money was from your checking account, is that right? A. Absolutely. Q. And that is a joint checking account with you and your husband, is that correct? A. Yes, that is correct. Q. Is there anybody else on that account? A. No, sir. Mr. Nelson, I am going to have the next document marked as Exhibit 3. It is the Wells Fargo check. The court, counsel, have you had a chance to review the check? Ms. Charles, yes, Your Honor. Thank you. The court, okay. It is marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 3. Q. By Mr. Nelson, Ms. Serta, can you see the copy of the check that has been marked as Exhibit number 3 on your screen? A. Yes, I see it here. Q. Okay. Do you recognize what that document is? A. Yes. Q. Tell us what it is. A. This was a check requested by the title company. Q. Okay. Do you see where it reads pay to the order of? A. Yes. Q. Do you also see that it has pay to the order of Chicago Title Company? A yes. Q, and it has your name right underneath it, is that correct? A exactly. Q, does it also have an escrow number? A yes, it does. Q, and what is the purpose of this check? A, this is being applied to the down payment for the residence. Q, and was this out of your own money? A yes. The court, you said earlier with regard to Exhibit number 2 that the mortgage company requested you to write that check to your brother, correct? The witness, no, Your Honor. The court, Mr. Nelson, perhaps you could clear this up for us. Mr. Nelson, yes, Your Honor. Q, is it your testimony that the mortgage company wanted the check to come from your brother? A, no. They wanted payment, and my brother did not have that amount of money, so I paid for him. Q, okay. I let him borrow the money from me, essentially. Q, did the mortgage company know that you were loaning the money to your brother? A, no. Q, did the mortgage company question where he obtained the money? I do not understand the question. Q, I will try to approach it a different way. A, okay. Q, all right. Ms. Serta, I am showing you a copy of a check. Do you recognize that document? A, yes. Q, what personal knowledge do you have about this check? A, we went down to the bank together to obtain this check. Q, and it was issued to the title company, is that correct? A, correct. Q, is this a portion of the down payment? A, exactly. Q, when you say you went to the bank together, do you mean yourself and Harry? A, correct. I had the money he was borrowing. Q, did you have an account with Bank of America? A, no, I did not, but Harry did. I took the money to him, and he got this money order from his bank. Mr. Nelson, and I am going to have a copy of the grant deed marked as Exhibit number 4. The court, okay. How shall we reference that exhibit? Ms. Charles, is it dated June 9, 2003? Mr. Nelson, correct. Q, Ms. Serta, please take a look at the copy of the grant deed on the screen. A, okay. Q, have you had a chance to review the exhibit? A, yes, I have. Q, all right. And do you recognize this document? A, yes, sir, I do. Q, is this the document from when you purchased the house? A, yes. Q, when you and Harry purchased the residence, what was the mortgage payment on the house? A, it was $1,000 per month. Q, does that amount include taxes and insurance? A, yes, it does. Mr. Nelson, no further questions at this time. The court, do you have cross-examination? Ms. Charles, yes, I do. The court, please proceed. Cross-examination. Q, by Ms. Charles, Ms. Serta, who made the mortgage payments? A, he made the mortgage payments. Q, when you say he, are you referring to your brother? A, yes. Harry. Q, okay. Did he ever miss any mortgage payments? A, yes, ma'am, he did. Q, on how many occasions did that happen? A, about 2 to 3 times. Q, when he missed the mortgage payments, who was responsible for making that payment? A, I had to make that payment. Q, you remitted those 2 or 3 payments, is that right? A, correct. Q, and who claimed the residence for tax purposes? A, I claimed it until he received his green card. and could legally work. Q. Okay. Then what happened? Then I allowed him to claim it. Q. Did he claim it totally, or did you split it between the two of you? Mr. Nelson, objection. Relevance. The court, what is the relevance, counsel? Ms. Charles, I will withdraw. Q. After you bought the house, did you buy anything for the house? Yes. Q. What did you purchase? I bought the appliances in the house. Q. Was there anything else you bought for the house? Additionally, I fixed all the blinds in the house, and I also repaired the fencing. Q. Ms. Serta, I am showing you a receipt from Sears. Yes. Q. Do you recognize that document? Yes, I do. Q. At the bottom of the receipt, there is a box with a signature on there. Whose signature is that? That is my husband's signature. Q. Okay. Do you know what was bought here? A stovetop for the kitchen. Q. Is that for the same residence that we are talking about here? Yes. Q. Okay. And is that the stovetop that is in the residence right now? Correct. Q. This is another receipt. Do you recognize this? Yes. Q. Do you see the signature in the box? Yes. Q. Whose signature is that? That is my husband's signature. Q. What is this? This is a receipt for a washer. Q. Was this washer purchased for the residence that you and Harry bought together? That is correct. The court, at the time these appliances were purchased from Sears, who was residing in the house on Montana Drive? The witness, Harry. The court, and with his spouse? The witness, no. Him and my mother. The court, thank you. Please continue, counsel. Q. By Ms. Charles, was there an occasion when you and Harry owned this house together that any of your other brothers resided there? Yes. Q. Who did? My 3 brothers resided there. Q. Were they living there at the same time or on separate occasions? For one period they all lived there together, and they all moved at separate times. Q. Okay. And did they pay rent? Yes. Q. Okay. How much did each of them pay in rent? $100 per week. Q. Was that for each person? For each person, yes. Q. Okay. About $400 a month per person, right? 3 brothers were residing there, so $100 per person. Q. If we are talking about monthly rent, it would be each brother paid $400 a month each, correct? If they were there the entire month, correct. Q. And who received the rent? Harry received it. Q. Okay. Did he provide you any money for rent? No, he did not give me any money. Q. Okay. Did you ask for any money? Absolutely. But he said he was supporting my brothers, so I said okay. Q. Okay. Has Harry ever paid you back for any of the money you contributed to the residence? No, he has not. The court, if I may interrupt, counsel. At some point in time, did you transfer your interest in the house to Harry? The witness, yes, I did. The court, do you have a rough approximation what year that was? The witness, no. The court, you may continue, counsel. Q. By Ms. Charles, do you know how the idea of Transferring your interest in the house came up? Well, it was his idea. Q. And did you only discuss it one time? Actually, at that point in time, he was very persistent about transferring the house. Q. To be clear, do you mean transferring your share to him? That is right, yes. Q. Okay. Because he was always missing the payment. Q. Would his missing the payment affect your credit? Yes, ma'am. Q. Okay. And did he ask you to transfer all of your interest to him? No. He only requested 50% of my interest. Q. All right. Do you know why he requested that you transfer 50% of your share to him? Well, because he kept missing the payments. Mr. Nelson, objection. Non-responsive. The court, that will be overruled, and the answer will stand. Go ahead. Q. By Ms. Charles, let me ask a better question. Ma'am. All right. Q. Do you know why Harry only requested 50% of your interest be transferred? Are you asking why part instead of all of it? Q. That is correct. Well, I gave him money for the down payment. Q. Okay. And did you feel you still wanted to receive a profit from the purchase of this house? Exactly. Q. Is it true that in order to do that you needed to keep some interest in the house? Yes, ma'am. That is correct. Q. How many times did you have a discussion regarding the transfer of interest? I am not sure really, but possibly 3 or 4 times. Q. Is that your best estimate of the number of discussions you have had with him on that subject? Yes. That is how I remember it. Q. Did you ever agree to transfer your share to your brother? At that time we decided that we should sell the residence. Mr. Nelson, objection. Non-responsive. The court, I will sustain that. Mr. Nelson, move to strike. The court, that answer will be stricken. Please continue, Ms. Charles. Q. By Ms. Charles, did you agree to transfer your share of the house to Harry? He insisted on buying me out. Q. And were you able to come to an agreement on the transfer? Yes, ma'am. Eventually we did. Q. Please tell the court and members of the jury what the terms of the agreement were. Well, I don't remember it exactly. Q. I will help you. End of exam.